And again, our guest this morning is Dr. Amanda Hayes, Associate Professor of English. Good morning, Dr. Hayes.
Good morning.
It's good to have you around here this morning, and a great morning to talk to you, as a matter of fact. So tell us, first of all, about being an Associate Professor of English at Kent State Tusc, and how can I get an English degree?
Well, first of all, it is a wonderful job to have. I get to work with great people and great students, and the community itself is wonderful. And I think Tuscarawas is a really good example of how an educational institution can be part of the community rather than separate from it.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people don't even realize how valuable an English major can be, because they have this idea that, well, an English major, there's nothing practical you can do with that. In fact, there's a lot that you can do with that, because what we do when you're majoring in English is we teach you about not just, literature, although that is part of it. You learn how to really think carefully about people's lives and stories. You learn how to be a critical thinker, and you learn how to communicate well. And for those who are interested in the English degree, it's a degree you can get entirely here at the Tuscarawas campus, which is, I think, invaluable. And you are more than welcome to talk with any of the faculty. You can get in touch with us on the Kent Tuscarawas website, and you can see what courses we offer. We offer courses in a variety of literary periods. We also offer courses on writing and special topics in writing and communication. It's a really fun time to be an English major.
Yeah, well, when you say improves communication, that is the crux of many of our problems these days, so that would certainly help a lot.
Indeed. Absolutely.
So, can you tell me some of the recent graduates, perhaps, who are, you don't have to name them, but where are they finding success in the professional world?
We have had graduates who have gone into publishing, working with publishing houses. We've had graduates who have gone into library work, some that work in social media and advertising. There's even a role for English majors in the business world because, again, businesses love people who can communicate and think. So we've had graduates who have gone that direction. We've also had graduates who have gone on to graduate school, both in English or library science, communications. It's also a very good major if you are thinking of law school in the future. We've had a couple that have seriously looked at law school because, again, the things you need to succeed as a lawyer are the things that you learn as an English major, that kind of careful, critical thinking and study skills.
And being able to understand the legalese is very helpful as well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Our guest is Dr. Amanda Hayes, Associate Professor of English at Kent State Tuscarawas. So you are also involved, and I'm not sure to what degree, with the study, I guess, of Appalachian storytelling and writing. That really interests me because obviously it's got a piece of history to it. So tell us how that evolved and what exactly is Appalachian storytelling.
Well, I tell you what really got me interested in it was finding out that I was Appalachian because that's something I think, particularly in Ohio, we don't learn that we are. We think of Appalachia and we think of Southern, and in fact, more than half of Appalachia is above the Mason-Dixon line. And I'm from Guernsey County, which is one county below Tuscarawas, and I always knew that especially when I was an undergrad and started writing papers, that the way I was being asked to write didn't feel natural to me.
Okay.
What I wanted to do was just, okay, let me take you through and tell you the story of my response to something I've read. And then you as the reader can take from that what you want. And my professors kept trying to tell me, no, that's not how you do it. You have to tell the readers what they're supposed to take. You're supposed to, have this straight line of text. You can't just go off into telling a story. And the more I studied Appalachian culture, the more I kind of saw how actually that fits with me and the ways that I communicate. Because Appalachian storytelling is this tradition of not just telling stories for entertainment, but telling stories as a way to educate, as a way to make arguments, as a way to convey important information.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that if you really wanted to stick with somebody, you tell them a good story. And of course, that's very different than how we're taught to write necessarily in academic writing. And what I've tried to do with my teaching, especially with students here in Tuscarawas, because they themselves also don't realize they live in Appalachia.
Right.
Tuscarawas is part of Appalachian, Ohio. I try to talk with them about, okay, here are the reasons why. If you feel like academic writing feels strange, maybe it's because you have an inclination to write this way, whereas academic writing wants you to write this way. So kind of using an intercultural approach to teaching writing, because I think that's something that I would have benefited from.
So Appalachian storytelling was a form of education for maybe those who didn't go to school very long or didn't have access to schooling like we do now, right?
Absolutely. And the kinds of things that they learned are things that I think are worth preserving. I know a lot of my students are interested in things like food preservation, gardening, especially now when local food and local agriculture is becoming almost trendy. I think that a lot of them are interested in these ideas, and they know that, for example, their grandparents and their great-grandparents knew how to do this. And there is a concern that, well, this information is being lost because this kind of storytelling tradition is taking a back seat.
Right.
How can we hold on to these things? So, yeah, I've had lots of students who are interested in talking with their grandparents and great-grandparents and reconnecting with the stories they might not have heard before.
And are you teaching them then also the difference to be able to write in that storytelling mode, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we absolutely talk about that, because I think for a lot of people, when they read stories that are written by Appalachian authors, it's very easy to think that, well, it jumps all over the place and it doesn't have a focus. And I think you really need to think about what storytelling is like and how it can be different from written communication. Because when someone's telling you a story, they can have 3 or 4 different threads that they tie up at the end. Mm-hmm. But you have to have the patience to sit and listen to those different threads. We're so used to, reading is supposed to be clear and concise, and it's supposed to have one thread. I think that a lot of students who have that kind of storytelling and who are inclined to write that way feel like they're bad writers, because they feel like, oh, well, I'm not staying on topic, even though for them these. So in other words, if a student is trying to write about something that they value, which is a pretty common first-year writing assignment, so talk to us about something that you value or what you saw as an important experience in your life, and they get this feedback that they are off topic when they're trying to talk about 3 or 4 different things at once. That's because Appalachian storytelling is complex.
That's right.
And it works when you tell it vocally. We just have to figure out how to translate that into writing.
Right. How do you write an inflection? I guess that's part of it.
Exactly.
Well, that's very interesting, Dr. Hayes. I knew it would be, so thanks for sharing that with us. And again, if anybody wants to ask a question about the English department, an English degree, or Appalachian storytelling, how would they best get a hold of you again?
The first thing you would do is go to the Kent Tuscarawas website. They have links to the different departments, and you can find our contact information. We have some excellent professors in our department who are looking at so many interesting things. We have literary experts. We have people who focus on social media and rhetoric, in queer theory and rhetoric. There's just so much to dig into. But find information that links you to our department who can answer questions you might have about things like tuition costs, deadlines for application, what resources we have available. So it's really a one-stop shop for anyone who is interested in Kent State Tuscarawas.
That's good to know. Well, thanks so much for joining us and spinning a little tale of your own this morning.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad I'm making sense. I'm on my fourth cup of coffee.
That always helps. Thank you. That is Dr. Amanda Hayes, Associate Professor of English at Kent State Tuscarawas, on Tusc Talks this morning on our 830 High Beam.